This week on the Whiskey Tornado, we review Bardstown Discovery Series 3. Hey guys and gals, welcome back to the Whiskey Tornado. I'm your host Lance. This week we review Bardstown Discovery Series 3. If you saw the thumbnail, you know how excited I already am for this one. It's a great cork, by the way. It's like super heavy, a lot of weight, feels like a magnet almost. All right, I'm gonna get a pour of this. While I do that, let me explain the Whiskey Tornado scoring system to you guys. Here on the Whiskey Tornado, we have 6 categories: nose, palate, finish, presentation, value, and availability. We rate each one of those 0 to 1, 0.5 being average. At the end, we add them all up. Anything over a 3 is bar worthy. Anything 4 or higher is bunker some and buy a few of them. All right, let's talk about the 3rd Discovery Series from Bardstown. I love how transparent Bardstown is. On the side of their label here, they tell you exactly what's in here, what percentages. So quickly, I'll review those for you. 45% of this blend is an Indiana bourbon, a 13-year Indiana bourbon. We've got 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. So clearly the majority of this is coming from MGP. Those of you that have followed my channel for a while know I love MGP, so I'm so excited to get into this one. All right, the second bourbon in this blend is 32% of a 13-year Kentucky bourbon, 74% corn. I can't really read the rest. It looks like 14% rye, the rest malted barley. And the last part of this blend is a 23% 10-year Kentucky bourbon. That is 75% corn. So wonderful mixture there of 13-year and 10-year bourbons. So let's get into this. All right, moving on to our first category, let's get into the nose. Okay guys, on the nose, so good. The nose here is just beautiful. It's super dense and super sweet right from the get-go. It's almost like a dusty bubble gum at first is the first sweet note that I get. Like if you smelled like the outside of a Big League Chew wrapper. I know that's really specific and kind of weird, but that's what I get. And then there's cherries, and it's not medicinal cherries. It's like Luxardo cherries. It's rich. Like really rich caramel. And then if you go hunting, I'm gonna give you another weird note on the nose. Like deep down in there, it's like a forest floor. It's like, and I don't know if it's the time of year or what, but I get like fall scents in this, like leaves or something. Maybe that's like a tobacco or leather note. Oh, it is gorgeous. This nose is about as good as you could get. I'm gonna give it a 0.8. All right, moving on to the palate. Cheers, guys. Oh, it's so good. The flavor profiles here are similar to Sam Houston 14-year and similar to Wild Turkey 17-year bottled and bond, but not near as medicinal as that 17-year bottled and bond. In fact, at the end of this video, I think I'll pull that out and taste A/B compare these. The thing that really stands out to me on the palate on this is this like velvety, like extremely creamy mouthfeel that is just beautiful. Okay, let me go in for a second sip. On the second sip, if you're an MGP fan, you're gonna love this. That, like, what did they say it was, 45%? 45% of this is MGP juice from Indiana. You can taste that, but it's just aged so well. The blend here is perfect. It's really drinkable, but still provides enough spice, gives you a good enough hug. Is so thick and creamy, but cherry stands out here on the fruit notes, but not medicinal cherry, caramel, and then those like excellent notes of like fall leaves or forest floor or leather, tobacco. It's one of those. It's like it's all around that. And again, I don't know if it's the time of year, but I am digging this whiskey for the fall. Yeah, just super sweet. The flavors are so perfectly balanced and dense. I mean, this could get you in trouble. It's 55% alcohol, so 110 proof. It is absolutely the perfect proof. Wow, is this amazing. I think, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, I think this is better than Wild Turkey 17-year bottled and bond. It's better than Sam Houston 14-year. The palate on this is so good. And unlike those super high, like barrel strength or cask strength bourbons that really fight you, this doesn't do that. This to me, this is my jam. It's the perfect proof. I mean, it's almost perfect. I don't want to ever give a bourbon a perfect on the palate, so I'm gonna give it a 0.9. It's that good, and I would choose this probably if I'm sitting down and I've got somebody offers me, you know, Elijah Craig barrel proofs or Wild Turkey 17-year bottled and bond, or even Stag Junior. And I don't want something to throw me around the room, but I want to really sit down and enjoy complex flavors and just really enjoy a whiskey. This is it. I'd pick this over all those. So we're giving this a 0.9 on the palate. All right, on to the finish. All right, let me take another sip here for the finish, guys. Oh man, this is so good. This is so delicious. This is definitely a 2020 Bourbon of the Year contender. And oh man, it's so good. So the finish just goes. It's really long. It's longer than average. It gives you a nice hug, nice peppery finish. And then I get those, like, that big league dusty sweetness on the finish that I'm absolutely loving, along with those tobacco and leather notes. Man, this is great. I'm gonna go 0.9 on the finish. And speaking of Bourbon of the Year contenders, if you guys are members of my Patreon this year and from here on out, my Patreon members are helping me decide what the Whiskey Tornado Bourbon of the Year is. Yeah, we're gonna crowdsource it. So every year, the highest rated bourbons that I score, I'm sending samples of that to my Patreons, and we're gonna do a live stream, we're gonna taste it, we're gonna vote, and we're gonna do it blind, and that will be our Bourbon of the Year. So I'm really looking forward to that. Our tasting is October 29th, so be looking for our Bourbon of the Year video after that. Okay, moving on to presentation. I actually really enjoy these Bardstown bottles. I love the corn etching in the back. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but they look really nice on the shelf. You guys know I always say bourbon is a distillery's artwork, and I think the packaging and presentation should reflect that art. And I think they did here. They have a really nice solid cork, almost feels like it would be magnetized. It's so heavy, and just a beautiful bottle. I really like it. I'm gonna give it a 0.7 on the presentation. Okay, let's talk value. This is an expensive bottle. This is a $125 bottle. So is it worth it? I think it is. I think it is definitely worth it. I think as of now, and I've only been able to sit down with this a couple times, but right now I think this is leading for my bourbon of 2020. It is so good. You've got, you know, 13-year MGP juice in here, another 13-year Kentucky bourbon, and another 10-year. It's so dense and flavorful, 110 proof. It's pretty much the best thing I think I've tasted so far this year. So yeah, I think 125 is a steal for this, and I want to get more bottles because this is, like, right now, this is my bar of what a good bourbon should be. So all that being said, we're going to give it a 0.7 on the value, even at 125. Plus, you know, Wild Turkey 17-year bottle and bond is basically around 200, probably 175 MSRP, and I would pick this over that. All right, so let's talk availability. Availability on this shines. It's Bardstown Discovery 3 Series. It's priced high enough. A lot of people aren't chasing it. They should be, because it's fantastic. And it sits on the shelves, unlike Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. And I would have this over some of that, over some of the Buffalo Antique Collection stuff. It is just really good. Hits my palate just perfectly. So availability, I can find it pretty much anytime. Store right around the corner has a bunch of these on the shelves right now, and I'm sure I can go in 3 weeks and still find them. So we're gonna give it a 0.7 on availability. All right, guys, so that brings Bardstown Discovery 3 Series overall score to a 4.8. Again, tying my highest score I've ever given a bourbon on this channel. Definitely the highest score I've given a bourbon at 110 proof. You know, the Elijah Craig barrel proofs are way up there on my scoring system, but they're a lot higher proof. This is so good, guys. Do not pass this up. Make sure you get it, even if it's for a special occasion. I think you're gonna like it. I think even people that come over that aren't bourbon aficionados are gonna enjoy it. It's not too challenging. But now what I wanna do is compare this to Wild Turkey 17-year bottle and bond in a side-by-side. Let's see how it stacks up. Let's see if what I'm remembering is correct. All right, guys, I got my 17-year bottled and bond Wild Turkey. Again, this is a presentation you can't beat. Let's see if the juice holds up. Those of you guys that have been following my channel know, like, I love this stuff. And this bourbon is a bourbon that's not for everybody. Sitting in those alligator charred barrels for 17 years, it has some challenging smoky notes. Probably some notes some more Scotch drinkers are gonna like than bourbon drinkers. And from what I remember, the cherry notes in this actually come off medicinal because of the smoke and char. Almost like a clove, if you guys remember that, like, old gum, that clove gum, kind of has that, but with like cherries, artificial like cough drop cherries to it. So let's see. I'm interested to see side by side. I want to, you know, compare the mouthfeel, compare the sweetness. So let me go in, taste Bardstown here real quick. Oh my gosh, it is so good. It's ridiculous. This stuff is ridiculous. Okay, on to Wild Turkey. Oh. On the nose on the Wild Turkey right away, you get those like clove notes and that medicinal cherry. This is like Luxardo cherry. This is cough drop cherries. Much more tannic, a little more bitter, definitely more medicinal, like I remembered, like way more medicinal. This crazy next to each other. Let me go back to this one more time. Wow, wow. Putting these two side by side, this is one of my favorite bourbons. Again, but it is challenging. A lot of bourbon drinkers are not gonna like this. This is a $200 bottle. If you're wanting to try this, I would recommend getting a pour of this in a bar before you buy a bottle, because I just don't think a lot of people are gonna like it. Now, on the flip side of that, this is one I think most people are gonna love. Doing them side by side, I mean, all day Bardstown 3 Series. The mouthfeel is what stands out. It's super creamy, velvety, the concentration of flavors, it's less bitter. That's not to say this is bad. 17-year bottle bond, I love. It's in my running for Bourbon of the Year, but next to Discovery 3 Series, I don't think it holds up. Discovery 3 is where it's at. It is definitely in the running for my contender of Bourbon of the Year for 2020 with an official score of 4.8. Run out and get Bardstown Discovery 3 Series. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to me. It's been so fun for the channel to really grow these last couple months. It's been amazing for some of the other YouTube channels to get in touch with me about collaborations. More on that coming. The support I'm getting from our Patreons has been amazing. If you're interested in becoming a member of our Patreon, there's a link in the description below. I do bourbon hunts on Thursday and Friday where you guys can see me go into stores, see what I'm hunting, see what I'm really trying to find ahead of the curve. Also, again, we are doing crowdsourced Bourbon of the Years in our Patreon group. So for the Bourbon of the Year for Whiskey Tornado, I'm sending samples to my top patrons, and we are doing a Zoom call. They're gonna taste them blind. We're gonna vote and decide what the Whiskey Tornado Bourbon of the Year is. So I'm super excited for that. Thanks again, guys. Until next time, cheers.